Jainer Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chansey.
Oh, well, I think the value is his leadership. I think he showcased that when he would do mound visits with the pitchers. The pitchers talked about how incredibly cerebral he was during those timeouts, whether the pitching coach was out there or not. Right. So he acted kind of like a mentor, especially to some of the younger pitchers, and they appreciate his insight. As a hitter, he's like, hey, look, I know what this guy's looking for. I know what your plan is. Maybe do this, maybe do that. And of course, they never shared the specifics of what was said. But even Yainer Diaz talked about when we interviewed him before the season started, how Alex Bregman loved getting in there and acting like he was a catcher. And he liked hanging around the pitchers. I just think that type of person, someone that has a connection with Altuve, someone that I think when he leaves, the reverberations of his absence will be felt deeper than, don't laugh at me when I say this, deeper than Maldonado, Correa, Cole, and Springer, all those guys combined, just because of he's been here every single time they went to the ALCS. He's been here. I mean, just like, Correa, when you take someone number one overall, you expect that person to stay with that club. Alex Bregman just seems like he fits in Houston, and I've tried picturing him in other uniforms. Someone asked me this weekend, what if Seattle offers him a ton of money? I'd be like, you know what my counter argument would be to the Astros? Do you want to be a perpetual loser? Because that's pretty much what's going to happen when you go to Seattle. They're going to, the Tigers got further than the Mariners are able to get. So, no, he's not going to Seattle, but I think what he brings on the field mentally, the camaraderie, the relationship he has with the Latino players as well. His connection, not only to the city, there are a lot of things you can't replace. And I'm not even getting into the defensive metrics and advanced numbers right now, but outside of those things, there's so many things before you even get to the things that they look at for contracts that I think it would be a gaping hole to have him not on this team.
Yes, I agree with you. And defense alone, I think, is a reason to sign him. But he's also got a bat, and that's what makes him valuable. He plays great defense, and we saw, granted, it was a bad situation where Shea Whitcomb came in. This was kind of the final hurrah for Alex Bregman. The coach took him out. He got his chance to get his final goodbye from the fans, and then Shea Whitcomb came in, and it's like, oh, crap. Does this mean I'm the third baseman? I'm the captain now, and maybe the nerves are up. Maybe he was just trying to be perfect. He had the 4 errors in the game, and it just shows how valuable he is as a third baseman. Go and put up those stats you had, Brett, about his career WAR overall.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm right here. It's pretty simple. His defensive WAR 32.6 for his career and overall 39.7. Eric, back in 2020, he was at what, 25?
It was 22.7 for his overall WAR. I'm looking at an article from the best third baseman Astros history. None of those players, their stats have been updated because they've been retired for a while. But Alex Bregman's career has kept on going. We would love for it to keep on going with the Houston Astros, but it's kind of out of our hands. But I think if Jim Crane is very serious about extending this run, trying to get back to the playoffs, Alex Bregman is somebody to build around. Third base is a premium position. I know a lot of people say, well, so is Kyle Tucker. He plays right field. You can get a young player to play right field. You can get somebody to come in and do what Spencer Arrighetti. He may get some hiccups, but eventually he'll turn into what Spencer Arrighetti did, what Hunter Brown did. But to have a premium third baseman like you do, it's going to be rough. And the fact, when you looked at the free agent market, we'll talk about this in a second, I know you got some defensive numbers on the free agents, but just looking at the list, there's not that many players out there that's like, oh, yeah, I've got to have this guy.
Right.
There's a couple guys with club options, Brett, that could be interesting. One guy, I'm pretty sure they're the Guardians. I believe he was traded to the Guardians. Or maybe no, it was the Orioles. I doubt that. No. I think he's still with I'm thinking of Eloy Jimenez, but Yon Makata is somebody that maybe, I don't know if the White Sox, if they're, it's $25 million club option. They may say, you know what? We lost 100 games. You're not worth 25 million, dude. So,
well, Matt Chapman's worth 25.
Yeah.
But yeah, so real quick before we get into our next segment, we're asking, the first question is, how much is he worth beyond the money? When it does come to the money, the starting point is 6 years, 151. If you pay him 30 for 5, okay, that's 150 right off the top. I think you pay him for 5, you give him a 6-year player option. But I think Alex could get between 33 and 35 million. Would anybody here listening be willing to pay him 34 million? That would be 170 for 5 years, give him a player option. And if he meets certain criteria, if he has certain accomplishments, you could even back in this contract. You could start it cheap, and then where he's making 40, or I'm just saying, like, you could make it to where he's making a lot at the end, keep it cheap at the beginning because you got others to sign. So that's definitely something we need to look at. The starting point, the floor, is Matt Chapman, and it goes from there.